When the fever broke, we were speaking in tongues, lying to each other at the top of our lungs. Tales were told and the songs were sung. We left the doors wide open, let the wild dogs run, as we were lying to each other at the top of our lungs. Not like we planned it, out of reach now. We're empty-handed. You gotta know, maybe we write the story. I could be the one you wanted. Darling, no guts, no glory. Who cares if the house is haunted? I try to stay through the heart. We sweat and we shake.
Non-stop rock talk with Tyson Bryden. Welcome to Non-Stop Rock Talk. I am your host, as always, Tyson Bryden. On today's show, I'm very happy to welcome back from the Great Affairs, Denny Smith. Denny, welcome. How's it going?
It's good to be back, man.
Awesome.
Be back.
Yeah, I seem to, as we were talking before we started, I seem to remember our last conversation was really good, and it was a very long one, which was great, and we touched on a lot of rock stuff, Butch Walker and Aerosmith and Kiss, a whole bunch of things.
We did.
Yeah.
And the failings of the music industry in general.
Yes.
Circa 1992. Yeah, we covered a lot of ground. I don't know how much we talked about my band, but we did talk about a lot of other bands, that's for sure.
Well, you know what? It's funny. In between all of that, we did it kind of, a lot of it came back to the Great Affairs in some way or another as I was listening to it again. So, and that's funny because that goes back to February 2021 when we were right in the thick of COVID.
Yeah, it was. I remember that for sure.
And I believe Nashville had a snowstorm.
We did. We did have we had a couple of good ones that year, but I remember that because that was the we couldn't really leave our house.
Right.
Like right after I talked to you, man, I think we were snowed in for like 2 days. I literally could not get my truck out of the drive. It's every time I tried to move it, it slid another 3 feet down. So we were finally able to get my girlfriend's car out, but hers sits in a better position to be pushed.
Yeah.
Mine, it was just a no-go. It's just a straight down. So the grade was not going to let it happen. So that was a couple long days.
Wow.
And I think I made fun of people for running out and getting.
You did. I think you did.
And I was starting to regret that I had not gone to the liquor store at least before that happened. So yeah, it was a thing for sure.
Wow. And what about last year? Was last year a better winter?
It was pretty mild, if I remember right. It's funny because, these last 2 years, we've traveled so much less for shows that that's normally how I clock that stuff is how many times you nearly die with the van and trailer on the way to Alabama or something or Ohio.
Yeah.
And we didn't have any of those near-death experiences the last 2 years because we simply didn't travel we normally do. So I don't recall it being anywhere near as. I mean, they're saying this year is going to be really bad, and who knows?
And they always do, and then it never happens.
Right, exactly. And here especially because it's I think we talked about that. It was if it does snow, that 2021 in particular, that was a weird anomaly because normally it's gone 3 hours later. It just pause it, and we're business resumes. But that year it did not. It was cold enough that it would kind of thaw. The freeze and start to thaw, and so it just was like layers of this. It was crazy. That was So hopefully we don't get that again. But our calendar is light, so if I get stuck in the house, I get stuff done here. There's plenty of stuff to do around here, so I'll be all right.
I mean, up here, and if you have to travel in a band to like say Sudbury, Ontario, which is 5-6 hours away from here north. In February, it may not be good because, I mean, it all depends. And it's funny, I did a gig in a place called Iroquois Falls, which was 8 or 9 hours away north of me. And luckily, we got lucky. And the weekend was good. No snow, nothing. I think maybe the Saturday when we were actually there, it snowed. But then the next morning, everything was fine when we had to leave. But the snowbanks were literally like 6 feet high on the side of the road. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah, I don't. You guys are probably. So is it like touring Texas up there, where the in between is 5-6 hours? Is that kind of the standard?
Some of it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's we tried. I mean, we do a lot of that, obviously, but we try. It's a little bit easier to string them together here geographically to get, where you route it 3 hours here, 3 hours there. But yeah, man, the problem here isn't so much like, at least I'm assuming in Canada that everybody's used to that, or has learned to drive in it. You get people that come here we have a lot, and this is no offense. I was born in California, so this is not a slam on Californians, but if you've never driven in ice and snow, it really is a what do I do kind of scenario. Right. And no one does the right thing, man. And that's why you've got cars, spinning off into the ditch every 20 feet. And I grew up in that. I grew up in Central Illinois, and I was used to, crummy winters at the very least. So driving in that stuff to me is like, tornadoes don't bother me. I mean, I wouldn't want to be standing right next to one, but I just got used to that being those sirens were a thing.
Really?
That kind of weather I don't freak out over. I mean, I'm not thrilled about it when it happens, but I just don't get weirded out. But you see these people that just panic and then gun the gas. It's like, well, that's
not the right thing to do.
Neither one of those pedals is going to help you right now. Just the best thing you can do is just let that car idle to where it's going,
Exactly.
And, it's just crazy to watch sometimes.
Well, the funny thing up here is usually the first snowfall is when everybody can't drive. Like, people forget. They're like, you're thinking, did you not do this last year? Why is it this year you can't drive? And there's accidents everywhere. And I mean, you don't want to go on the highway because there is accidents everywhere because people just forget, I guess.
Well, man, we had one here when the first time we lived here. This was in 1994. We lived here for a year, and I was just a kid at that point. And but I delivered pizzas, when I was a teenager. So I was just driving in the worst possible stuff. And that year, I didn't know. I wasn't prepared for a Tennessee winter or what would happen if we did have a storm. And we had a really bad ice storm, and they literally closed everything, including the interstate. People were stopping their cars, turning them off, and leaving them there. And I was like, that can't be for real. I'm watching it on the news. I'm like, that can't be real. That you're seeing traffic cams where there are these cars just, and they did. And they just parked. And a buddy of mine that had moved down here with us, he was lucky enough to slid his into a ditch and walk home. So it was off the road. But these people were leaving their cars on the interstate because they simply couldn't figure out how to get where they were going.
Wow.
So it's not that bad now, but there's just I guess there's no, the city just doesn't want to invest the money in preparing for that when it happens because it happens so seldom. Only now it's not as infrequent as it used to be. I don't know if that's, the global warming thing or whatever, but it is it definitely seems to be more common that we get one or two of those a year than it was, 20 years ago. Right. So maybe it's my imagination. I don't know. Huh.
Well, let's talk about the great affairs.
Let's do that.
Now that we've got all that snow stuff, and I don't even want to think about snow, so let's talk about something better than snow. All right, you've got a brand new single entitled "Fever Breaks." I love that line in the song. When the fever broke, we were speaking in tongues. And I mean, speaking in tongues to me is always intriguing, and I think a faith-based, I guess, but it's still brilliant. Can you kind of tell me about this song in a lyrical sense, what you were kind of trying to convey?
Well, I mean, honestly, man, the whole song starts from that section, those two lines. That was that popped into my head so much so that I had to go Google it to make sure I had not heard that. I want to make sure I didn't steal that from somewhere. I was like, I don't know where that came from, but sometimes they appear like that. So I just took that and ran with it. And as far as the gist of the song, as far as the theme and stuff goes, I mean, it kind of goes back to, when you're a teenager or, high school, and you're not fully developed yet emotionally as a person, and you get into a relationship or relationships the way most people do, and you don't know how to treat people right. You know, all these things, you'll say things that and you look back on it now and you think, man, I can't believe I said that to another human being. Or you know what I mean? Especially somebody that you have professed these, you know, deep feelings for, you know, but that's just the games that you know, I mean, maybe not, maybe some people that emerge from the womb with great emotional depth and go through life and they never do anything untoward with their partners. But I said and did some horrible things when I was younger, and
Me too. Yeah.
And you can never really quite put those out of your mind. And it just all kind of from those two lines, man, that whole story kind of evolved from that. You know, it just had me thinking about, you know, the hot and cold of it. You know, 1 minute everything's roses, and then the next thing you know, you're a complete bastard, you know, and you don't even know where that person came from. I kind of do know where that person came from, but, you know, you certainly don't at the time realize where that comes from, you know?
Right. Cool. Now, I love the cover art for the single. Is that supposed to be someone behind bars? Is that what that kind of?
No, I like to take pieces of different stuff and put them together. So that's just a composite of several different illustrations that are layered over one another, and then crafted into and then we pull the logos into it and try and create something unique out of several things that might have meant several different things when they were created. But if you put them together in the right order, so it's kind of that's kind of the gist of it. It's you know, it's the screaming thing that no one can hear kind of deal, you know.
Is that the premise of, I mean, because on Everybody Moves, Nobody Gets Hurt, you've kind of used it, that's kind of the same, the mouth with the great affairs in the logo. Is that kind of what you're kind of alluding to, what you just said?
Yeah, I felt like that was a nice, call back to that kind of thing, to slide that in, because this is going to be technically Strange Love. We had an EP out called Strange Love that was really the first part of the transition from that lineup to this lineup. But this is the first real single from the record. It'll be the lead off track of the record. So I felt like, man, I like doing those little things that the fact that you picked up on it is cool, because most people probably won't.
I love that kind of stuff. I think that bands put a lot of effort into trying to, when you do the cover art for a single or an album, I think there's a lot of effort put into it.
Yeah, there can be. I mean, every once in a while you just stumble across an image that is just like, man, that's too cool. That's the cover. And it doesn't even have to necessarily mean anything. It could just be something that it's a piece of art would be art whether you slapped your logo over it or not. It's something you think is cool. But when you have to, when this stuff has to be cobbled together, and we're pretty DIY, man. We hardly ever rely on anybody else to do that stuff for us.
Yeah.
So when those things materialize out of wherever, I just have a file on my desktop where I'm constantly dropping stuff for future use. If anything I see that, or if I'm, driving somewhere and I got to pull over and get a picture of that kind of thing. And I just keep that stuff in a file, sooner or later it's going to be useful for something,
Yeah. I mean, I think for us that grew up in the 80s, you go back to the 80s and listen, a lot of the music was visual. So we are visual. I think we are visual people because, you looked at the band and you're like, oh, they look cool. I wonder what they sound like. I mean, or you looked at the album cover and you thought, oh, without even hearing it, you might have bought it.
I still do that. Generally it's in the dollar bin. I'm flipping through vinyl that has been discounted or something, but yeah, I did that for years. I can't tell you how many things there was plenty of terrible stuff that I plucked out of the bins too. Yeah. But, I still kept it because that's just how I am. But yeah, that was the thing, man. I mean, I'm probably to the detriment of a lot of artists too that did not fit the cool, whatever of the day was. So yeah, it's different now, man. The older I get, the less I want to be on the album anywhere on the outside of it, because I don't feel like it's a selling point necessarily to have my picture on there. Right. But yeah, that was absolutely a thing. I mean, I guess it's not quite as common now as it was in the 80s and maybe, early 90s to even have the band's photo. Unless you're a solo artist, you hardly ever see a band photo.
Yeah, you don't. Not very often.
But that was totally the norm.
Like think of how many albums had the band on it, like from that, first Poison, first Cinderella. I guess the first Bon Jovi was just John, though, right? And then the rest of the band on the back. Yeah,
John and the Chick in the Street. Well, and that was still, I guess that was probably when they were still marketing him as a solo artist, even though it was a band. But yeah, those first two Bon Jovis just had him on the front.
That's right.
But I mean, that was perfectly acceptable. And at the very least, the band was on the back.
Yeah.
So I mean, and now it's like you don't even know. Sometimes it's just like I said, you kind of would think that the way everything has gone to the digital consumption thing, that it would be less important. But there's some great album art still getting made,
which is amazing. Yeah,
and sometimes that I like covers better than I like the actual album that's included inside. But you think about iconic stuff that even stuff that didn't have the band on it. I mean, Dark Side of the Moon and stuff like that. Yeah. Was just like, man, how much more iconic can it get than something like that, but it goes the way too. Damn the Torpedoes, that simple picture of Tom.
That's right.
Standing there, red background. It's like, man, that will never leave your brain, man. It just gets burned in there.
Oh, I had that on the other day, actually, since you mentioned that. It's such a great album.
It is, front to back,
So good. And you know what? It's funny. Like, I don't think Zeppelin ever had an album with them actually on the cover. No, right? Everything was visual.
Unless you count that live reunion record, How the West Won thing, where they finally had like a playbill style thing. But no, those are all, and that same thing. Those are all these crazy. I mean, that was the era of remember that. I didn't even realize this is one artist that did all this stuff, but the Hypnosis album covers, like all the UFO album covers,
right?
Stuff.
Yeah, they're really cool. Yeah, those were cool.
My drummer turned me on to that. That's like an art collective, I guess. I don't know if it's one guy that did all that stuff.
Oh, really?
I didn't know that. So many of those, man, are amazing. And they don't. I mean, maybe they mean something to that artist, but if I look at them, I can't put anything together.
Like the cover of Fawcett is just so unusual.
Yeah.
Right.
All of those, man. I mean, and you think about some of that stuff. I mean, probably wouldn't even get done now. But people would be like, "Oh, well, we can't really have that's that can't be on the cover." I mean,
it's true.
I think of that. What's the Foreigner album with the chick in the bathroom stall? Where it's like, I don't even know if that would fly these days. And there's so many the Scorpions album cover.
Oh man. Well, Virgin Killer, I mean, and I think it was banned, wasn't it?
It was, and so they did a whole different cover for it. And then the other one, what's the other one?
Love Drive?
What was that? Which one's with the hand, where he's got the hand in the limo?
Yeah, that's Love Drive. Is that Love Drive? Yeah. The Animal Magnetism's the next one. Yes, Love Drive. Yeah.
So that had an alternate cover. I mean, they've done, but those, I mean, they were German, so anything goes over there. But
I think Taken by Force had an alternate cover too.
And because that's the one that has the weird cemetery as the alternate cover. Yeah, and I didn't even know that existed until like a year ago. I had never seen that other cover.
So I have the reissue, and I think they put a sleeve over top of it, so it's got the black cover with the 5 of them on the front, and then you take it out, and it's got the other cover in it.
That's a trip.
Yeah, that was cool.
Rewriting history.
Pardon me?
But rewriting history.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, sometimes I get it, man. I mean, I remember being a kid and thinking that Blind Faith album cover was weird. It's like, is that a naked?
Yeah, I always thought that one was unusual.
There's a lot of that stuff where it just kind of, when you don't think about it until years later that stuff was just different. It wasn't a problem that Janis Joplin had her boobs out.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
Until it was. You think about that Simon and Garfunkel album cover where the box set where they've airbrushed the joint out of his hand. And it's like, why is he sitting like this? Well, he had a joint between his fingers. That's why.
I didn't know that.
I didn't. Somebody pointed it out to me one day, and I thought, and you can find the original picture. untouched photo. But yeah, he had a joint between his fingers, and apparently that was not acceptable. So they just airbrushed it out.
Well, what about the Skinnerd album with the fire on it?
Oh, the flames, yeah,
the flames, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's an odd one, man. It's just unfortunate timing on that, I guess. But,
Yeah.
But I mean, again, we were able to name all of those inside of 3 or 4 minutes. Those are all, every one of those is etched in your brain, man, because they were, and I don't know that there's as much importance placed on that anymore. I mean, hell, dude, I have a hard time remembering that an album by one of my favorite artists came out 5 weeks after it came out sometimes. Like, oh yeah, they did have a new album out, you know?
Yeah.
It's just so weird how that stuff goes by in a flash now, and it's, you know, we just don't, I mean, I'm saying maybe it may be an age thing, maybe kids are different, but I just don't digest it the same way I used to. Like, I used to just sit and obsessively listen to the same album 20 times in a row, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't find myself doing that anymore. You know, obviously it's harder to find the time to do that when you have to, you know, earn a living and stuff, but, you know, and there's much more of it than ever. I accumulate more of it than I did then. I just can't appreciate it the way I used to, you know?
I know I buy it and then maybe it might get played once or twice and then I'll forget about it. Where, you know, when you're a teenager, you're just, oh, I love this. I'm just going to keep playing it over and over again.
Yeah. I mean, my mom yelled at me so many times because I was a song rewinder.
I was too.
You know, I was trying to you're trying to figure out riffs and stuff too. Yeah. So I might listen to, you know, Detroit Rock City 30 times in the, you know, just parts of it over and over again. Even if I wasn't learning it, just trying to pick apart what was going on in there, you know. I can't imagine myself. I mean, unless I had to learn a song now, maybe I might do that. But now I would just go to YouTube and some little 12-year-old kid and show me how to play the riff correctly, and I would do it all the time.
That's crazy. I won't do that. I'm just like, I can't. It's a matter of principle. Can't do. I've got it.
I've replaced car parts with the help of a little kid on YouTube. So I'm not above it. If it'll get me to the finish line faster. I can't tell you how many recording tricks I have learned
from
children on YouTube that have helped me get edits done, all kinds of stuff with software that I can't figure out no matter how many times I consult the manual. It's always some kid that's not even a teenager yet tells me how to do it.
That's crazy. I mean, that's how they've grown up. Yeah. Right?
Yep, that's exactly what it is.
It's crazy. Now,
and they can monetize it.
Pardon me?
They can monetize it. They get enough views on those, they get paid for helping idiots like me figure out how to get my auto-tune to work correctly. So, you know.
Crazy. Now, you mentioned this single, there is an album coming forward. When is that to come?
There's the question. The fact of the matter is the record is almost complete now. If we wanted to release an 8 or 9 song album, we could have it done inside of a month. But we've got a guest artist that can't contribute can't get her parts in until early December because of her tour schedule. So that can't happen. So that slowed it down. Kenny's been working on a solo record. He's been doing it for the last 4 years, to be perfectly honest with you. But it has, you know, he's put a lot of material over in that pile. So we've been doing some co-writes to get caught up, to make sure he's got some cool stuff on the record. He's already got a couple great songs. And then we had a couple tracks where we decided on what we were going to do, but didn't get as much done in the days that we were in the studio as we probably should have or could have.
Right.
So those are kind of holding up the whole thing. And then what really derailed the process and created this need for a single was we had told people we were going to have another EP out before the end of the year. And then we decided we were going to do a Christmas song, which we've never done before.
Cool.
So we wrote this Christmas song that's going to come out in November. Yeah, we did it. It's a rock song, and an original. So we did that. So I thought, well, it's kind of pointless to put an EP out in October and then come Black Friday, not even a month later, drop a new single that's not on that EP. So we're going to do the single And then we're going to do a video for the Christmas song too. And that'll hopefully tide us over. And between now and February or March, whenever it's a good time to get back out there doing shows, the record will be done. And so we may drop another single in January or February, and then hopefully get the full length out, shortly thereafter. It's really not the way I still like albums, man. I like dropping the masterwork.
Yeah.
And that, it's, I realize that is not the way most people do it anymore. I just can't get used to the single. It just seems really hard to, I know when a single comes out,
I'm with you.
I'm not as excited about it. It's like, it's just the one song. Where's the rest of it?
Exactly. It's funny to me with the whole singles thing, because the Skid Row single for The Gang's All Here was released 7 months ago.
Yep.
And then the album just dropped 2 weeks ago, and I was like, why did we get this single so far in advance? And then they released 2 more leading up to the album. And
I have a theory on that, and it's not really a theory so much as it just makes sense. But it's my son works for a vinyl pressing plant. So I'm well acquainted with the inner workings of the delays and getting that. Everybody hears about it all the time. Oh, it's going to be 6 months for the record can be pressed, or 8 months.
Yeah.
It literally is 6 to 8 months out if you want to get your record in the queue to have it pressed. So, and I don't know where they did theirs. I'm going to guess they got it done overseas or something. Maybe not. Either way, they barely got Eric, the new singer, they barely got his contributions in the can before they did those Scorpions dates. So I don't even know if he was done doing that whole record, but they had those dates and they needed something to promote that.
Was that Vegas?
Yeah.
Vegas, yeah.
That Scorpions residency thing. So maybe it was just a matter of, we got 2 or 3 songs in, we know this kid's going to work. We'll crank out the rest real quick, and then it's got to go off to the pressing plant. And that gave them time to set it up and do the other videos. We played with them in July, and they only played 2 songs off that record, I think.
Really?
Yeah, it had a great set list, but it wasn't out yet. So they were only playing the stuff that you could have heard on YouTube or, Apple Music or whatever your streaming platform of choice is.
Right.
And they leaned into the rest of the stuff. But they were great, and no one cared. I mean, they were there for the old songs anyway. At that point, they didn't even know probably there was a new Skid Row record coming out, because like you said, they just teased it with these singles along the way,
Yeah. It's just, I mean, for us, thinking about that, and what you said makes sense. That totally makes sense in the whole record pressing thing, because the Slaughter reissue album of Fear No Evil took over a year to get that whole box set and to get it pressed. And then the Wildlife is coming out next year. I'll tell you a crazy thing about that. I used to work for Jason Herndon. Did you?
Kiss My Wax. Yeah, I worked with him. He was my boss at Cat's Music when I first moved here.
Oh, cool.
He literally works for URP, the vinyl pressing facility.
Oh, he does?
He couldn't even get his own release pushed to the front of the line, because that's a lot. They had to, that stuff's got to be all remastered for vinyl. It's got to be, there's so much that goes, all that bonus content has to be, there's a lot of transfer stuff going on with that has to be farmed out to be done. There's a lot that goes into it. And that's before it goes to the vinyl pressing place. And, it's a lot, man. And you can't, when you're, selling those things for what they're selling them for, you damn well better get it right, man, because those are nice packages, man.
Oh, there was an issue with some of the vinyls.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So when you get those things, like, I'll tell you a crazy one. I think it's okay to talk about this now since the album's out, but Slipknot changed the name of their album right before it came out.
Really?
And like I said, my son works for one of the pressing plants here, and they had already pressed some of the covers. So those had to be destroyed, man, which is expensive, because in midstream, they decided, luckily the vinyl hadn't been pressed and had labels slapped on it yet, but the covers had started. So
I guess no one's allowed to keep one, eh?
Well, apparently some of them found their way out because I've seen people talking about them, and I'm sure there's some on eBay right now going for ridiculous money. But
I would prefer if someone was a collector and just took it home and kept it for themselves, instead of selling it on eBay.
I'll have to ask him. I don't know if any of those that he absconded with him or not. I don't know how they even destroy that stuff. If it just goes through a shredder or what. But yeah, I mean, they had pressed. I mean, you got to think, man, a band like that's pressing tens of thousands of units too.
Yeah, they for sure. They have a huge fan following, right?
Yeah, so that's an expensive change of mind, to say that we need all new covers.
Wow.
I can't imagine what they've sunk into that.
Wow. I mean, I can't even fathom that.
I mean, I'm sure they can afford it, or they're on Roadrunner, right? Yeah, or they're about to not be on.
I think they're off Roadrunner now. I think I just read they were.
It's the last Roadrunner record. That's the thing. The album, something about the title, fans were freaking out because I guess it alluded to this being the end, but it's just the end of their tenure with Roadrunner. So that might be why they changed the album title, because they didn't want people to think this is we're pulling the plug on this thing, because they're obviously not. But the album title was misleading, I guess. So that's my understanding, at least. I'm not a huge Slipknot fan, so I can't say.
I'm not either. I've never gotten it. Not that they're a bad band. I just never got into it.
I've seen them live. It's it's a hell of a spectacle. Yeah. But I wouldn't put it in the headphones and go for a jog or anything. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think what it comes down to for me is I'm sure they are great musicians. It's just listening to vocal like that, I just don't. It's just not for me. I prefer,
Yeah, and I love him in his other stuff, the Stone Sour stuff.
Oh, me too. Exactly. He's fantastic.
Yeah. But yeah, the Slipknot thing, the screaming thing has never really appealed to me. There's a couple singers that dabble in that. Like I love Corey Clark from Warrior Soul, and people that could do that when they feel like it. But for the most part, man, that stuff it's just too abrasive. I just don't have the ears for it. It just wears me out,
Yeah, me too. And as we get older too, you're less and less. I don't want.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Right. So now you did mention before that you do have a record shop.
Yeah.
And it's funny, we were talking about that Skid Row album, and ironically enough, they are on the cover of that album.
Yeah. Well, their backs are on.
Their backs are. Yeah.
Yeah.
And which is kind of cool to see the band on the cover again. And I think they've done a really good job with it, because they've never changed the logo. It says Skid Row. You know what you're getting. It's just a different singer. Yeah,
and they've obviously they've had several singers. A couple of those tenures were so brief that people don't even realize they existed, probably. But this kid. He's not. I mean, he is a kid.
He's a kid. Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it. It was unbelievable, dude. Like the amount of power and range he has, and doesn't even appear to be trying when he's doing some of that stuff.
Yeah,
blew my mind. I mean, it was exactly what they needed, man. It's the exact shot in the arm that band needed. This, and I like the record. I don't know how you feel about the record.
I love it. I love it. I really like it. Yeah.
Production is great.
Yeah.
It sounds like that, and that's the best guitar playing I think they've ever put down on a record, man.
Both yes.
Fire on there. So they were great live. They were clearly feeling it. Like they were all into it. I saw them several times with Johnny.
I did too.
When he was live, when he was in the band, and they were always good. They were never not good.
Yeah.
But this was next level good, to where you're like, okay, now this is why I was a fan, man. It wasn't. The songs were delivered the way they needed to be delivered. Also, Eric has a ton of energy.
Yeah.
It's a great. He's got his own thing. It's kind of a composite of a bunch of different people. But it's his thing, and he threw down, man. I mean, they were great. Rob, who's been in the band for a long time, I thought the drumming on this record is great. Everything about it, dude. And the one thing with them that I think is more identifiable than anything is Rachel's bass tone.
Yes.
He's not a flashy bass player.
No.
but you know it's him, man.
I've always liked what he did.
It's great, dude. His right hand, he's got a sound that, it's their live too, man. They were great. I can't say enough good things about them. We were lucky to even be on the bill with them, but they blew people away. Me, for sure. I was absolutely floored.
Yeah.
So good on them, man. But yeah, they're on the cover. You are correct. That was a nice, and that calls back to those, that first record kind of thing with the.
That's right. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. I remember the first time I saw that first record and thought, wow, that looks cool. And then saw the video for Youth Gone Wild, and that was it. I was a fan right away. It was easy to be a fan of Skid Row back then because
everything was done exactly right.
Yeah.
I mean, from the way they rolled those songs out, they didn't come out wimpy. They could bring that, when the ballads came, they weren't wimpy ballads. They were, like legit power ballads, man.
Yeah.
Those were strong songs. And his voice, man, I mean.
No, it's unbelievable. And
it's just a punk rock to it, it was great.
Exactly. And it's funny because 18 in Life, I guess, is a ballad, but it's also like a mid-tempo ballad. It's kind of like it really rocks. And the way they did the video for it and how it had the storyline of the actual song, and everything was really calculated. And then, of course, they did a video for Piece of Me, which showed that really punky side of the band as well.
Yeah, they had great management, man. I mean, there was not a single, other than some of Sebastian's behavior, there were no missteps, man, for the first 4 years with those guys. They're on fire, man. The Slave to the Grind, I thought was, every bit is great. It was a great evolution. And I will admit to not being a huge fan of Subhuman Race, but
well, you know what? It's funny. I wasn't either, and I thought it was okay when it came out. But when they re-released that box set, and I put Subhuman Race on vinyl, there's something different about it. It sounds, I don't know, there's more life in it on the vinyl.
Man, I can't say as I've listened to that album once in the last 15 years or so. Maybe I need to revisit it. I just remember at the time, I knew they were doing it with Bob Rock, and so I thought, well, this is going to be massive, man. Not that Michael Wagner didn't knock it out of the park, because he was great on those first records, but the fact that Bob Rock was doing it with everything that Bob Rock had done around that time, I thought, man, this is where they just take the roof off. And then none of the songs did it for me, and they didn't sound tight, and it didn't sound. You could just hear the band coming apart on that record, and it just didn't sound like a band anymore. And I don't know how they feel about that, but that's how I felt. And I remember my drummer at the time did not agree with me on that, to the point of I thought we were going to have to go outside and settle it like men kind of thing. We got really heated. I was like, man, what do you like about this, man? There's no hooks.
Yeah.
There's, it just sounds sloppy. It just didn't have any of that magic those first two records had. So maybe I need to revisit it. Maybe I was just, it was a weird transitional period, everything was going weird around that.
Well, you know what? We were all trying to understand what was going on. And, if a band that we liked changed a little bit, it was like, what the heck's going on? What are they doing? I mean, and it's like when Warrant put out Ultraphobic, and you're like, I liked the album. I can say that, but it wasn't like cherry pie.
Well, that was one that I loved. I did not. There were a couple songs I didn't like on it, but that one
I liked it.
It connected with me. But there were several other ones from that era that just did not. Where I scratched my head. So, are you familiar with that Svengali?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're from Toronto, right? Well, Hamilton.
Okay, they were another band that first album
was phenomenal. Yeah,
great. And then that In-Wire, whatever it was, the one that came out in America. Yeah,
In-Wire.
It sounded like Candlebox. It didn't sound like the same.
Who did Kelly Gray produce that, or one of those?
I don't know. I just remember getting a promo of it at the shop I worked at the time, and being so stoked that they got an American record deal, because we had to sell their first album as an import. We had to turn people onto it because it did not come out in America.
It did?
So, no, we only sold that as an import. So it was like $20 a disc for it, because the Canadian imports weren't as bad as like getting Japanese or something, but
Yeah.
we had to, basically force that down people's throats. And then that second one came out, and I was like, I don't even want to tell anybody about this, and it's only $11.99. But I couldn't. It was such a bummer. Their newer stuff they've had it recently sounds more like the first time did.
Well,
but
yeah, because they're on RFL Records now.
oh, really?
Yeah. And my understanding is that I think RFL got a hold of the first album, and they're going to release it on vinyl.
Oh, that'd be great, man.
I know. It's pretty cool. So hopefully that's going to happen. I think that goes back like 6 or 7 months ago that I read something. Or maybe Doug Franklin's in charge of RFL. I think he may have told me that, but I can't remember.
Well, 6 or 7 months would put it about 1 month out from being released then, because that's...
Yeah. Yeah, which is exciting. And Dog Eat Dog is coming out on vinyl next month.
Yeah, I saw that is that a European reissue though?
I got it on, originally I ordered it on Amazon.com.
I know I saw that on the store's new release guide. I couldn't remember if it was an import. I remember it being kind of expensive.
It wasn't too bad. And then Amazon.ca has it now, so I ordered it from there. I think it was $50. I think. Yeah,
I think it might be an import one though, because I know. Well, I guess I can't. I can't talk about that. Sorry. There's a couple other things coming out that I don't think they've been announced yet from that era, but I can't talk about those.
Cool.
Sorry.
I mean, Bite Down Hard by Brittany Fox was released. Real Gone did that, and I got that. It sounds good. And the first Baton Rouge, and all the stuff's just popping out of nowhere. Yeah,
that Real Gone label's gotten they've had some pretty good gets, man. There's a few where I was like, how they even... I think they do. I don't know how they do it. Maybe it's like they do with, Wounded Bird used to do those CD reissues.
Right. Yeah.
They can only press a certain amount of copies for a certain amount of time, and then the license reverts
back. Yeah.
So they only get it for so many copies. So because like when that Life, Sex, and Death reissue came out,
yeah,
I was worried I wasn't going to get one because it supposedly was only 2,000 copies or whatever it was.
Did you get one?
Yeah, and the shop had no problem getting it. And then like 3 months later, another version of it came out, and I thought, oh, well, it wasn't that. Maybe the second one's not numbered or something. The first edition was numbered.
I think Alex is his Kane? Alex Kane? Yeah. I think he's actually selling it.
Yeah, he was definitely behind getting the reissues and stuff together. But it sounds so much better than the CD, man.
Really? That's awesome.
I normally can't tell because I'm about half deaf anymore.
Yeah.
But it was night and day, the quality. And plus the original version on vinyl was missing 3 songs.
Oh.
This is a double vinyl, so it has all the tracks.
So they're able to. Okay.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm gonna have to look into that. I kind of forgot about that. Wow,
that's a great record, man. It's sadly underrated.
Yeah.
But it's such a weird cult record that I find people all the time.
Well, I mean, the singer kind of, that's where it's like the whole cult thing, like.
Oh, Stanley. Yeah. That was
unreal. That's cool though.
I did a deep dive on him about 6 or 7 years ago because I wanted to see what happened to him. I couldn't figure out because I knew he had money.
Yeah.
He came from money, and I was able to find this like old message board about rental properties in Chicago where people would go to complain about bad renting experiences they had.
Yeah.
I found it by Googling his real name. And there was a whole thread on there about him and his wife or girlfriend and what horrible landlords they were.
No.
But it was awesome. I couldn't stop reading it because they were detailing the exchanges they had with him over rents, and it was priceless. I really wish I had screen captured a bunch of it. It was really good stuff, man. I don't think it exists anymore.
That is wild.
It was awesome. It was so good.
Wow. We were going to talk about Butch Walker's latest album, but I think we're just going to pass on that.
Yeah.
I haven't
honestly,
even heard it.
I couldn't really say very much about it because I gave it a couple spins, and it's as per everything he does. The production is immaculate. All the players are great. It sounds like $1 million. it didn't do anything. It just sounds to me. It sounds like outtakes from like an Eric Carmen record or a Elton John record from the 70s. It's really, it's just not that he doesn't do that well. He does it great. It's just not, and this is just a typical selfish fan thing. It's not what I want to hear from him.
He does that every once in a while, though. I mean, there's some of those albums I just can't listen to. It's
entirely his, prerogative to do that if he wants to. I mean, it's art, and he can afford to do that. I think we talked about that last time, where it's just, he can afford to go off on these tangents and stuff, but similarly, I'm not obligated to keep up with all that. I try. I always listen to everything.
Yeah.
But it's got a lot of, there's just a lot, subtle political things in it, stuff, which I don't mind. That's fine. I probably aligned with him on most of it, but I just don't, the songs didn't do it for me. None of the hooks grabbed me. The concept, I understand the concept he's going for. I don't know why he's doing it, but I understand it. I just wasn't entertained by it, or it just didn't. I don't know. I've already said more than I needed to say. Probably, it just didn't reel me in. That's all.
Yeah.
I just didn't.
Yeah, and sometimes he does that. I mean, the last one was so great.
It was.
It was so good.
Fantastic.
So well done.
All the way around. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's not going to do it every time out. Everybody's that way. Look at friggin' Metallica's, what's the name of that album? Saint Anger.
Well, yeah, you can't just hit home runs, man. I mean, that's the way it, there's some people that come damn close,
Yep.
But, and there's also, and I don't know how this works, because, I don't answer to a label or anything, so I don't have anybody telling me to try again kind of thing. So I only have myself or my bandmates to go off of as far as, is this good or not kind of thing. I don't have an A&R guy climbing up my ass telling me that, it's not, back to the drawing board. But neither do these guys anymore. Most of them, a guy like Butch doesn't have that. As long as whatever his distro outlet is willing to press it up and put it out, he's golden. And he's still probably going to sell the same amount of copies, and he's going to go out and tour. And he's playing here tonight. He's playing I think Brooklyn Bowl here in Nashville tonight. But I mean, he'll go out and do his 24 dates, and then he'll disappear for. I mean, he pops up since he lives here now. He pops up and does like a thing at a record store or something every month. He's always doing something around town or doing a guest, like a tribute night, or they'll have Petty Fest or something. He'll get to do a Tom Petty song or something. But so he's active, but he's not out. He's not promoting these records like he used to and going all gung ho. And he knows, he gets it. I think that's why I think he makes the records he feels like, because he doesn't care anymore.
He's like, you know what? I think I'll make a record that's like this, and then he just does it, right? Which is cool. And I mean, it could be worse. He could decide he wants to sound like Bjork or something, and then I'd really be like, what the, but yeah, that'd be. He always stays kind of within the. There are certain parameters I think to what he does, but man, it's just the thing I can't get my head around is when he does decide to rock and do that thing. It's so good. Man. It's so good. I know, right? It's the thing that everybody fell in love with, and I get if you don't want to do that all the time, but. Throw us a bone, man. I mean, give us one of those, every now and then. And he just seems to be. They seem to be getting, fewer and further apart. Those kind of records, man. He's just not interested in doing that like he used to. Well, it's. I mean, it's crazy when you think of the labels he has been on. Like. Oh yeah. South Gang was Charisma, and then he was on it. Then he was more of an independent and. I can't remember that label that put out the first Marvelous 3, Deep South, and the Floyd's albums, Deep South. Then they signed with Elektra, and then the band breaks up. He's on Arista, and then he's on Epic. Like, he's had some serious label support. Yeah, and I don't know how many of those. I mean, I think when Epic first took him on for Letters, and they those two albums he did for Epic as a solo artist, I think they really believed in him, man. I think they really intended to. Killer album. It was, and the follow-up, I like, doesn't do the same thing for me that Letters did, but no. I feel like Letters was probably
peak of his powers in terms of, but he was doing, he was going for that's the Butch that, even though I love that Butch, I recognize why he doesn't want to do that, because that was Butch trying to be cool for that time. And the thing is with him is that he's got the skill set to pull that off. Short of doing death metal, the guy can do, which he can probably do that too if you really want to, but
he probably can.
He's so able to do these little mini evolutions that he does where he becomes this other thing. But that's part of the downfall too, man, to me, is that for a while there, I felt like he was chasing those things, like trying to keep up with the indie rock thing, or, he listened to a Spoon record and decided he wanted to sound like Spoon or something on the next one, that's all well and good. But that's, to me, man, that's kind of the shit you do when you're like in high school and figuring out what your identity is going to be, not what you do when you're a 40 or 50-year-old man that has a fan base already, man. And you have your fan base. These people are here for a reason, maybe don't go so far outside of that every single time, because eventually that circle is going to shrink on you. And maybe I'm wrong, because he's still doing it. But you notice he does it less than he used to.
Yeah, he does. And I mean, the Spade was so good. And
the album too, and tour.
Yeah. And what's the gold one?
Stay Gold.
Stay Gold was fantastic.
It had a lot of great songs on it. And
really great song.
That one took me a minute, but it still had enough of the key things to it, where it's like, okay, it's in there. It's still in there, that last one too.
Yeah. And that's the Butch I love, is when he's, I don't know, he's just, to me, that's him doing his thing. That's what, to me, I enjoy the best out of him.
Yeah. He's a master of taking all these things that we loved 20 years ago, or better, and reinventing them without you even knowing that's what he's done. But that's where this Glenn record to me fails, because I hear where it all comes from. I can tell you what songs this song was lifted from. Now it just sounds like a pastiche. It's not before it sounded like he was doing his own little thing, his own little spin. Now it sounds like he's made a composite of his 8 favorite, Elton John songs. That it's like, I don't want that. Give me the Butch Walker thing, and whatever the Butch Walker thing really is. Maybe I don't know what it is. I don't know. He's been so many things lately.
Yeah, he has. And I mean, you go back to the Hey album, which was, when that came out, it's funny because when that came out, I had no idea that was Butch Walker. I heard Freak of the Week on the radio.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I love this song. I'm going to go out and buy the album. And I'm looking in the liner notes and I was like, wait a second, this is South Gang minus Jesse Hart.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was coming because I had that album before that too.
Yeah, the independent one.
Yeah, the Math and Other Problems, which I loved.
Oh, okay.
Both those records are so good.
Yeah, he's very creative.
But it just was, it was presented as this kind of like a throwaway thing, and he even said that in interviews later on that he didn't think it was going to do anything. They were just doing that to be doing something.
Yeah, it's crazy. It was so good.
It's maybe that's him at his best when he's not trying. Maybe he should try less, and maybe another one of those records will fall out of his ass. I don't know.
And it's funny because Ready, Sex, Go was like they really tried. They tried to bring anthem rock back, and it just failed more or less.
Yeah, and man, I saw that tour. I saw them 3 times, twice in a day, actually. They played a Radio Fest and then played a little club downtown. And there was nobody there, dude. Like the radio thing, there were people there, but they played like 2 songs. I remember their amps blew up too, so they got delayed, so their set got cut. But they played later that night with this band called Czar, opened up for them, who were also, I'd never heard before.
Yeah.
Amazing. Their record is amazing. And it was great, but there was if there was 100 people in that venue, I'd be surprised.
That's crazy, man. And you know what? I think
they never got the push they deserved.
I think Elektra screwed up on that album, though. I think they released Sugar Buzz as the first single, didn't they?
Yeah, that was a bad move. Yeah, I never really understood that either because they played that at that Radio Fest, and I thought, God, you guys got such a deep bag of great songs. Why is this
the first song was amazing, and Grant Park was Like the first 2 songs on that album were just like in your face, and you're like, why?
Yeah.
You know, and then there's some other great ones, and Cold as Hell was on it, and that was a great song. And
yeah, they just didn't. The label, I know they were having problems with Sylvia Rhone at the time, so I don't know if that was, they went into it already having problems with her, so maybe she told the label, the promo people, not to work it too hard. But I mean, I had, my shop was open then, and I remember getting a promo copy of it. I don't know that we ever got posters. That was back in the day when you got posters.
Yeah.
Everything, man. They sent you, things that we would never in a million years even carry in my shop. We got posters for it, and stacks of them.
Really?
And we didn't get any. I don't think, because if we had, I would have saved some. Like, I've got stuff from the previous album that I got framed downstairs, but
really, that's cool.
Nothing from that record. They did nothing for it. Wow. So I do have. I remember they had a CD single for Sugar Buzz, and Butch is on crutches in a broken leg or something. Yeah, and it's and the mannequin's in the picture. It's a really cool.
Doesn't
picture.
he talk about breaking his foot in Grant Park?
Maybe that's what it was. Yeah, he's got a cast on, and he's on crutches in the picture.
Right.
And it's still just the 3 of them, because when they toured, there were 4 of them. They had
they had a guitar player. Right.
Yeah. So, but it's just the 3 of them. And I remember putting that. I'd already heard the song because a friend of mine had worked for them when they were South Gang, and had given me an advance, like the demos version of it. So I'd had that stuff way before that album came out. So I knew what they were going to do. In fact, I'll tell you something crazy. Here's a crazy bit of trivia, and I don't even remember how I got this. I think I sold it to my brother.
Right.
I bought Butch Walker's digital recording station, his Roland VS 1680.
Yeah.
I bought it off of him.
No.
For $600, I think, and I sold it to my brother for $300, I think. It had a road case, but when I got it, and I'd already had a VS 880, so I knew how to run it, so I could go straight into it, didn't have to use the manual or anything, because those were like really, there was the earliest of the little hard drive recorders you could get. The 880 was one of the first ones. So to put it in perspective, when I got my 880, I had to finance it. I had to make payments on it, and it was like $2,000. So I got the 16-track version of Butch's for $600. That shows you where that digital technology started to slide. It was these aren't worth what they were.
Yeah.
Because they improved on them so fast. But when I got it, I was so stoked, because there were 3 guitar settings that, like, you could put your own little presets in there.
Of his guitar settings?
The Butch Guitar 2, Butch Guitar 3.
No.
And I don't think I ever used them, but I never changed them. I always left them the same way, because they had these little preset. They were terrible, but they're little amp sounds that are preset in there that you can just plug and play. And I don't know who has that thing now, but I was super, but somehow or another, years ago, my old bass player, Tony Higbee, he plays for Tom Kiefer. He's Tom Kiefer's guitar player now.
Okay.
He used to work at Guitar Center in Atlanta, and we were both from Illinois. We had played in bands together in Illinois. So at one point, and this is during Marvelous 3, Butch's car got broken into, and all of his Kiss and Prince CDs got stolen. So, and I still have this card from this girl. So Tony hooked up. My shop had opened not long before that, I guess. And Tony knew Butch's personal assistant, Christy. And so Christy got in contact with me because Tony told her I'd get a deal on a bulk order of CDs to replace all of Butch's Kiss and Prince. So I had to go price and get this whole box of stuff together and then send it to Atlanta. She bought all these things for him to replace his stolen CD collection.
So it was Kiss and Prince.
She sent me Kiss and Prince. It was all Kiss and Prince CDs, because some of them were out of print. Some of the Prince ones were out of print, so I had to track them down.
Wow.
But I think I got everything she was looking for, and sent it. She sent me a really nice thank you card that I found it not too long ago. It was in a box of stuff. But I was such a fan. I was like, man, I just gave them to her at cost. I was like, I thought that was cool. It helped. He didn't probably even know that I even did it, Really? But that's how big of a dork fan I was. And then I ended up buying that. That's probably how I got the Roland recorder, was through her. too, probably.
That's wild. It's so funny though, because you talk about CDs being stolen from a car. No one would steal CDs out of a car now.
No, they might, but then you just find them thrown out down the street somewhere.
Exactly. Yeah, frisbees, right? Or coasters.
Right, exactly.
It's crazy when you think of that. When was that? In the 90s, I had like my parents' house got robbed, and I had maybe like 100 CDs. I was a teenager. All my 80s stuff, they were all stolen. And you're thinking, man, but then 3 years ago, I got robbed again of my own house, and I have a wall of CDs, and they didn't touch one.
Did you get some of those guitars back?
I got one back, actually.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah, I did get one back. My Charvel DeMartini Rat Bomber, I got back. A buddy of mine found.
So where did it end up? Where did it end up at?
It ended up at a pawn shop. It wasn't the people that stole it. I guess they sold it to the pawn shop, and I went back to the police because there was an investigating officer. A buddy of mine tipped me off and said, "Is this your guitar?" Wow. So I looked at it. They had put the serial number in the picture on the posting on Facebook Marketplace. So I had the serial number because I still had the receipt that I got from the store I bought it from. So I matched it, and I sent it to the police officer, the cop who investigated the case, and he went and got it.
Unbelievable.
And then
I mean, it's that, did I tell you the story of my drummer Kenny? Used to be in this band called Bone Pony.
Right.
He got his drum kit stolen. Their whole trailer got stolen from their singer's front yard. This is over 10 years ago. And they recovered the trailer, all the guitar gear that had been in the trailer. I think they got almost all of that back. But Kenny had a North, those melted-looking drums, North drums.
Okay.
They're these things that they're fiberglass. They made them in the 70s, and they haven't made them for years.
Right.
He's got another kit of them now. We record with them, but they're super hard to come by. You have to, basically buy them a piece at a time if you can. And that kit was on the trailer. So they got that kit, and they did not recover that. That did not come back. So fast forward 10 years, another drummer I played with, Billy Baker, who lives right up the street, I played in Bombshell Crush and former with him. He's a drum builder now. He builds drums for, he built Eric Singer's tour kits for these last couple tours. Wow. He does kits for everybody now. He is always looking for fiberglass shells because Eric likes fiberglass drums. They cover them in, crazy finishes and stuff.
Yeah.
So he's scouring Craigslist here in Nashville, and he finds a North kit on there. So he calls Kenny and says, "Hey, man, you might want to go look at this. This might be your kit." Sure enough, it is. And it's right here in town. It's been here the whole time. It's not the guy that stole it. He bought it. But Kenny had to go meet one police officer. And then I think they went and met another police officer. They go to the house. He still had Bone Pony road cases in there with the drums.
No way.
The only thing that was missing, there was some parts were missing and stuff. He had played them, obviously. Yeah. But he's like, oh, I always wondered what those were, kind of, So he got them all back. They claimed them right there on the spot. They were his, and they were but the guy wasn't arrested, and I'm sure it wasn't the guy that stole it, because they got the guy that stole the stuff.
Okay.
So, but yeah, he'd had him that whole time.
But then the guy's out a set of drums, right?
He is, and whatever he spent on them, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that, which is unfortunate, but
sometimes you take that chance when you buy something used, right?
Yeah, when the trailer comes squealing up in front of your house and somebody says, "Hey, you want a drum kit?" and you buy them, you might think about what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, exactly. So, interesting. We mentioned Kiss. So, have you seen? Obviously, you've probably seen it. The reissue of Creatures.
Oh yeah.
That I'm totally stoked for that. I can't remember which one I ordered. I know I ordered the one with the vinyl with the demos, the blue vinyl. But I think there's
whatever the big mega one is. That's what Kenny ordered.
Wow.
Man, I'm gonna complain about one thing though, and I don't know because I'm not positive, and maybe this doesn't really exist, but it's been rumored for years.
Yeah,
that there is a version of Back on the Streets from
and it's not. I looked for that. It's not on it.
It's not. So I don't know if maybe that either one, it doesn't exist, or they don't have it maybe, or that was from the Lick It Up sessions.
Well,
maybe.
that's what I was wondering. Yeah.
I hope so, man, because that's like the holy grail for me, man. I would love to hear that.
I want to hear Paul sing it.
That's what I'm saying. So if that exists, as soon as they announced that track listing and the digital version popped up online, that was the first thing I went looking for.
Me too.
Not there. God.
I was like, it's not there. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, but they did unearth some crazy stuff, man. And
like some of those demos are Lick It Up stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see that blue. That blue just looks so. It matches the cover. It looks amazing.
Yeah, and that's one of my favorite records too, man. So
me too.
It's just the fact that it's getting a new master and everything is great because it kind of did need it. Yeah. But yeah, man, some of those outtakes and a lot of the live stuff is from Rockford, Illinois, and I had so many friends that went to that show because that was that was the closest thing. Because they would always in this weird deal. They never played. I grew up outside of Peoria, Illinois. They would play Peoria maybe on every other tour. They would skip Peoria and go to Springfield, Illinois, which is like an hour away, or they would play Rockford, which is like an hour and a half away. And that was the Rockford stop. I was too young to go to that anyway. I would have had to get, an adult would have had to take me to it. But yeah, man, it bums me out that I never could, I was too young to catch that tour live with the tank and everything. It would have been so cool.
I was too young as well. In 82, I think I was 82. I was 7 or 8. So there was nobody in my Uncle Don maybe might have been able to take me to that, but my mom would never have allowed. There's no way. I mean, I didn't see Kiss until the reunion tour, like the first reunion tour.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for some reason, I just never got to go see them. I would have loved to see them, with Vinny. I would have loved to see them with Bruce, of course, but and see Eric Carr.
I didn't see him. The first show, I think Crazy Nights was the first tour that I was old enough to drive myself that I went to. Yeah. Yeah, that was the first
I wish
one.
I had seen that tour because, Hot in the Shade was a little bit tougher one because that was
really good. That was a great tour.
That had the Sphinx, right?
Yeah, it was so... I remember being so bummed out because in Metal Edge magazine, they talked about how they had this drawing of it, and Gene was talking how the glasses would explode and fly off at the beginning. And I remember walking into the arena, and you can always see the headliners' production behind, and they had Faster Pussycat and Slaughter open it up.
Yeah.
And the whole time you can see that Sphinx back there, and I'm like, where are the sunglasses at, man? There's no...
And they weren't on it.
And it had no damn sunglasses, man. They just abandoned that idea. They couldn't get it to work or something. So they canned that. And it was they just had the laser, which was still super cool. Yeah. When it mouth opened up and they come, it was pretty badass.
There's a show on Kissology from that tour, right?
Yeah. It's somewhere in the New Zealand area or something that they...
Yeah, it's a great show. That is really that's really good. I enjoyed that. I think that may be the only time that Paul Stanley has used a Les Paul was on that tour.
Yeah, he did. I remember thinking it was crazy. They opened with I Stole Your Love. And he was still running around like he was carrying an Iceman, and that thing's got to be 3 times the weight of an
Yeah, I think...
I know running with a Les Paul, my friend, man. That's just... No wonder his knees were blown out 2 years later. You can't run with a Les Paul.
Yeah, man, that's too heavy. Too heavy. But... Yeah, and you know what? That was a good... I never even thought about that until I was visualizing the tour. I'm like, Stanley used Les Paul. I think that's the only time.
All night, man. I think he played... That's all he played that whole show. Was Les Paul's.
It was like they were going really back to basics, right?
Yeah.
Almost like... It wasn't as... That tour, besides the Sphinx, wasn't maybe as flashy as other tours. Like Crazy Nights would have been...
No, they had pyro. They did have pyro and stuff, but they didn't have the Kiss sign didn't even appear until the very end, and the Sphinx head sunk down, and a small Kiss sign came up. They had that. That was if you think about it. Prior to that, man, the Kiss sign was on every tour.
It just got bigger.
Oh, dude, on Crazy Nights, it was huge.
Right.
That was the tallest one they ever had. But it didn't even make an appearance. I don't even know at what point during the show it actually appeared. But finally, the center of the Sphinx head, I think it sunk down, and then the sides of its head, like these little like ports opened up and the lights came out of it, and then there was the kiss sign in the middle, way smaller than usual. Still super cool.
Yeah.
But you didn't realize it at the time that it wasn't there until it appeared. You're like, oh, that's weird. They always have that up there, but it wasn't there for the whole first half of the show, probably.
That's bizarre. Now I wonder if they'll consider reissuing any of the other 80s stuff. Like Lick It Up would be kind of cool, because as we're talking about, Back in the Streets maybe on those demos, right?
So, I don't know, man, because they don't celebrate that stuff as much, but I did listen to an interview with Ron Nevison.
Right.
It's a couple years old now, but he said he talked to Paul Stanley specifically about the possibility of remixing. He would really like to remix Crazy Nights, because he does not like, he knows that they weren't happy with how loud the keyboards are and stuff on it. And he would like to remix it with current technology. And he said that Paul told him that he would talk to the people at Universal and see if they were, interested in doing that.
I think
so. That would be really cool.
That would be cool. He needs to redo the Ultimate Sin too.
Oh, whatever he can do, as long as he fixes that cardboard. He did. That's every album. I don't know if we talked about this, because I've talked to so many people about this. That the Hard albums he did, and that all of them, those sound like cardboard boxes. All the drums sound
do.
like.
Does Vince Neil's album sound like that though? I always thought that sounded good.
Oh, Exposed?
Yeah.
That maybe because Vic Fox had such a badass drum sound or something. I don't know, but no, it does not.
It doesn't sound like those other Ron Nevison albums. Yeah. It's ballsy. It's got balls. Like in the bass. The bass is kicking, and the drums. Yeah,
that's a much thicker sounding record, but all those other, and don't get me wrong, I love Ultimate Sin I love that record.
I love it too. Yes,
and I love those Heart records too. To be honest, man, those are some great songs, but they all have that exact same, and those are great drummers too, man. Like Denny Carmassi, Eric Carr, and Randy Castillo.
Right?
Sound like garbage, man. Like sound like straight garbage. And you can't turn those albums up without being annoyed by it.
I can't. And you know what? And they really resonate badly on streaming.
Oh, I'm trying to think the last time I listened to Ultimate Sin.
I have it on a bunch of playlists, and sometimes I can listen to it, and other times I just cringe a little bit, because it just sounds so thin, right?
Yeah.
And
he clearly has. He's, like I said, this interview, he was very vocal about the limitations of it was, those were early digital recordings, he's not, because that guy was around since the 60s. So he's seen every single facet of that technology develop. That's got to be a sore spot. It's just got to rub his ass to know that he's got and those are some of his biggest selling records, and they sound like that.
I know. I mean, even Ozzy and Jake talk about it being, I don't know if Ozzy does. I know Jake E. Lee has talked about wanting it to be remixed.
Yeah, maybe they can give him his credits back on well, that's Bark at the Moon. You got jacked on that stuff too. But yeah, I don't know that I don't see Ultimate Sin getting done, just because Sharon had a case to ass with all those guys. And doesn't want to give them any more than she's given them already. Because man, for years, I'm talking years, I had to, for the shop, I would have to order the import of the remaster of Ultimate Sin, because they stopped carrying it. It was cut out in North America. Right. We couldn't get CD copies of it.
Really?
So I would just order. It was almost the same price to get it from the UK. So we would get boxes of that from the UK to sell, because people wanted it, but you couldn't find it. Wow. It was long after they had restored the artwork. Not those little. Remember they did those remasters, those stupid little covers with the greenish background.
Yeah. They all matched. They all coincided together.
They were ugly. They were so stupid looking.
Yeah.
We were still. That was the only version of Ultimate Sin we could get. Even after they had restored all the other ones back to the original art, we could only get that version. I kept trying to order those.
Those are the ones I have, actually, the CDs, because I went and got them all because they were remastered, right? So it's like, I want to hear how this sounds. Yeah,
I don't know how much remastering really got done to those.
It's hard to say, right? I mean, I've heard stories about that where they say it's remastered, but they really didn't.
Well, I mean, I think they try to remaster that stuff sometimes, and they don't have the original source material.
Yeah.
They're remastering off of the existing crappy master.
Yeah.
And you know, it's you can't polish a turd scenario. It's like, what do you do if you've already got a, you know, now the Zeppelin stuff, that Jimmy Page straight remastered that.
That's right.
Rack. So yeah. So that, you know, that stuff was done right. And the last batch of Beatles before they started having them all remixed and stuff, those got legit, real, like, holy shit, I never heard that track before remasters.
They sound good.
But a lot of that stuff, man, in the 90s especially, was, I really scratched my head at whether or not that stuff got touched at all.
So possibly those Aerosmith albums, that whole catalog, probably.
Oh, yeah. That's
disappointing.
Yeah, but I mean, those are cash grab years, man. When the CD was the thing, everybody was trying to get, you know, if we can get a new version of the same thing out, it's just making the same money again. You know,
I mean, the new vinyls of the Aerosmith stuff sounds pretty good. Like the vinyl pressing.
There's a few things that, it's funny you mentioned that Skid Row thing, because I heard a couple people complain about that said that it wasn't done correctly. I haven't heard it, so I don't know. I know Metallica remasters, a couple of those, they didn't do the most bang up job on them.
Justice sound. I have Justice, and it's horrible.
Yeah.
The level is, you can't even turn it up.
Yeah, well, the original one was obnoxious too. It would rip speakers out of your car stereo, but I've heard a lot of people complain about that not being, and I feel bad, man. I don't know that when I sell them. You know, I just know that here's the new Metallica remasters.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like I said, Subhuman Race sounds better than I've ever heard it. So I did hear Sebastian did a for Slave when they released it on its own a few years ago.
Yeah,
he did a listening thing, and he came out and he said this is not remastered off of the tapes. He goes, my vocals, he goes, I have the original. He goes, my vocals do not sound like they did on the original vinyl. Yeah, which was disappointing, but I don't know if that's the same one they put in the box set, because it doesn't sound bad on the box set.
Yeah, he's a really hardcore audiophile too.
He is, so yeah.
I would count on him to, you know, give an accurate assessment of that, but yeah, man, you just don't, man, you don't know until you drop. I mean, I'm a huge Enough's Enough fan.
Me too.
And all of those vinyl reissues are supposedly remastered. And I call straight bullshit on that, man, because they're not, one, the volumes are so low on those records where you're just like, man, it's not hot. There's inconsistencies with certain stuff. I'm still stoked to have them. I don't care. I was just so happy stuff even coming out.
I mean, I was happy that they put Peach Fuzz on vinyl.
Yes, yeah.
You know,
I love it. Those are great records, man. That 1985 of all of them, I think, is the best.
It looks great.
It looks great. That vinyl's cool looking, and it sounds. That one sounds like it got pumped up a little bit, maybe. But 7, not so much.
I haven't even listened to it. I bought it. I haven't listened to it.
Oh, really?
I don't think so. I think maybe I listened to side 1. I'm not sure, but I thought Dissonance sounded okay. I enjoyed it. Was Dissonance?
Yeah, well, that's also, Dissonance sounds pretty good, but it's also a fairly recent record.
Recent,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, so it's probably been slammed already when it got mastered. The last 3 times it got mastered, you know. But
I absolutely love Donnie's last album. I have that on vinyl.
Fantastic, man! It's so good.
Good.
I've been trying to find footage of this. He did a solo show with Warrant weekend before last.
Yeah,
I was only able to find one clip of that new band that he's got, and it sounds great. But I couldn't find any clips from the actual show. It's like an acoustic performance from the night before. He's got some really good players for that East Coast band. So I hope he. I hope he runs it up the flagpole, man. Because
I hope he does, because that album was so good.
Yeah, it didn't really get the shake it deserved.
It should have, because like I had a buddy. I took it to a buddy's place, and I said, "You got to listen to this." I said, "This album is phenomenal," and my buddy's like, "Wow." But the problem was, he went and he goes, he didn't have the vinyl, so after the fact, he goes, "I went and put it on streaming." He goes, "It was nothing like that vinyl sounded."
No, it's funny you say that, because I pre-ordered it on vinyl and I had only heard it that way.
Yeah.
But I did get the digital version because I wanted to get the extra track, the Karma track. So I thought the same thing. It's like, man, it's all squashed. It doesn't have the the dynamic range is way off.
I think he would be mad about that. I think.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. They took it down for a while, and it's back. When he left that Deco Entertainment,
he left that later.
The streaming services, and then it went back up. So I don't know if the new version is different.
I hope so.
Because I had the download card version for it, I think too. So I had whatever the first version was. I actually had the downloaded version of it, but that I don't know if the version that's up now is different than that. I mean, who knows, man? I'm gonna guess Donnie does not handle that stuff for himself. Somebody else probably does it, so he may not even be aware of it.
No, he might not be. I mean, I've spoken to him a few times, and we talked about that album when it came out.
Yeah,
but he was releasing more music, and then he kind of stopped. So,
well, I don't know what his current situation is, man. A friend of mine was kind of working with him in a managerial capacity for a while. I don't think he is anymore. It's hard to launch a solo career, dude. To go from, and enough's enough, dude. I think Chip was the guy that was kind of, driving the bus. So, you have to basically have to assemble a whole new team to get that off the ground. It's sad because he's a mega talent. But
he's so good. He's the guy
that had to do all that stuff. He just had to write the songs and go out and kick ass. And then you got to learn how to do all this other stuff you've never had to do before. It can be tricky.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he does another album soon and kicks butt like the last one.
He needs to get somebody behind him, a label behind him that can, knows what to do with him. That's the thing that I don't think Deco knew. They didn't really do much, man, beyond the initial orders. I never saw that thing being promoted other than him doing podcast appearances and stuff.
I mean, they were sitting on a great album. If they had promoted it more, I think it could have, it could have done okay. Yeah,
but that's the age-old story, man.
How many
so
bands?
Many records over time where you're just like, why was this not? I discover stuff all the time from 20 years ago that I didn't even know came out.
Yeah,
that probably should have had hits off of it. So
well, it's funny because we mentioned about back in the day, when an album was new a year ago, it still could have been new, but nowadays it's like a month, 2 months tops, and the album's old now.
Well, that's going back to the single thing, man. I was afraid if we did, these singles, they just they come and go so quickly. But man, they treat albums the same way. It's the same thing. It's like you don't, it used to be you would put an album out, you would, tour or do shows to promote it for a year or year and a half, whatever. I mean, if you're Def Leppard, you do it for 3 years. But right. But now it just seems like everything. It's not just an excuse to go out and play shows. The album's like an afterthought almost. Yeah. So maybe the singles thing I just feel weird doing it. As much as I love pushing new stuff, I don't want to put stuff out there and just have it get lost.
That's horrible. I mean,
to have the time to get attached to it. It's like, how do you do that anymore?
Well, I mean, I still listen to the Great Affairs, the last one, and I just had it on before we were talking, and it's still, I guess because I'm such a big music fan like yourself, that it doesn't matter when it came out. If it's good music, I'm going to listen to it, right?
Thanks, man, because that's that one, the fact that it's still getting spins is great. It's just not, there's everybody thinks they have an idea of how this is supposed to get done. Mm-hmm. And nobody knows. It's just, that I see people trying so many different ways to do it. And, we tried it, prior to that Everybody Moves record coming out, we tried to do the EP thing and the single thing. And all we got was people mad, why I can't get this. Where's the CD of this? There is no CD right now. It's just, these are just singles, mm-hmm. And then we'll do a CD down the line. Some people just don't consume stuff that way. They want their physical. And it's like, man, you can't even buy a car with a CD player in anymore.
I know, it's crazy.
It's forced obsolescence at that point. So it's like, man, even though we're a bunch of geezers, we got to move forward with this stuff and keep doing it and try and keep up a little bit. And you can't win doing that either. It's like,
I often wonder though, if the major labels decided all of a sudden that they were going to start pushing this stuff again, if it would take, or are they the ones spearheading all of this? The fact that it just gets lost so quickly?
You know, it's a good question, and that's a respectable theory, man, because obviously, I don't think
that's marketing, right?
Yeah, they got caught with their pants down on the streaming thing for sure. The downloading thing, they absolutely thought they could buck that and make it go away, and it did not go away. And they've slowly over time learned to adapt to it. But dude, as far as the physical product market goes, they tried things. There was a period, and they're doing it again now, which I think is strange. But there was a period about 2, maybe 3 years ago, where they started doing these music on demand. Like I would be doing my new releases for the week for the shop.
Right.
There'd be 3 pages of these MOD CDs. I'm like, what is this?
I think you told me that. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was all reissue stuff for the most part. Now I see them occasionally for new albums, but they're smaller bands that they're maybe not willing to take a chance on pressing large quantities. And they disappeared for a long time. And now I'm starting to see them again, these little music on demand, MOD things, but they're just peppered in with the regular releases. So it's not its own little standalone section. You just have to be paying attention when you do the order and realize that you're ordering a music on demand. So it's a CDR, which some people will balk at. They don't want CDRs. So that's a thing, man. They're still shuffling and trying to figure out which way to move as far as, because vinyl's not everything. There's still a lot of people that want CDs.
Yeah.
We still sell CDs. It's not, vinyl eclipses it, at the end of the year when I tally up
how much,
the category. Vinyl generally comes out on top, but the last 3 or 4 years comes out on top over CDs.
But there's only certain people that buy vinyl, right? Like guys like me that.
Man, you would think that, but not really.
No?
I'll tell you what, it all goes out the window at Christmas. Because from Black Friday on, it's people coming in buying stuff for their kids and stuff.
Yeah.
So all these bands that we don't sell all year long, suddenly grandmas are in there trying to buy. Do you guys have any 21 Pilots on vinyl?
Oh, yeah.
We haven't sold a 21 Pilots record in 11 months, but now we got to get a whole stack of them. Wow. So it's weird how this stuff runs. It just means that kids don't shop in my store. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The people our demographic is an older demographic, even in a record shop. So yeah, it is mostly guys. We do those orders. We know what to get. We know we need that new Skid Row record. You know what I'm saying?
Did you get the new Ugly Kid Joe record?
Say what?
Is the new Ugly Kid Joe record? Did you guys order that too?
That just came out
last Friday, I think, wasn't it?
I put it on there. I don't know if we got it or not.
Yeah.
But,
new Striper too.
Yeah, we definitely got that because they had a bunch of messages for that. And those consistently, that stuff, there's also, we're in a town of 35,000 people. Yeah. So there's only one other game in town as far as record shops go, and they don't carry any of that stuff.
This is Pekin, right?
Pekin, yeah.
Pekin.
So they don't really specialize in, we're the metal store, we're the hard rock store.
I wish I had known about it when I was there.
It's real easy to miss, man. We're on a main drag. When we were in the front, when we had the Wendy's building, right, we could not be missed. We had a giant sign, but when we switched into the strip mall, which over time has turned out to be a good move, our visibility for somebody just blowing by diminished easily by 50%. Like it just, because it pushed us back off the street.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you don't know it's there, we're definitely a destination. It's not something you're likely to stumble across unless you're going to the dispensary or the bookstore, and we just happen to be situated right in the middle of those two things.
Yeah.
We're real easy to miss as you blow by.
What is the name of the store?
It's Co-op Records.
Cool. Okay.
And it was a chain. It is a chain. There used to be 20 some locations.
Oh, wow.
The guy that originally opened them sold it to the guy that I franchise from now. And at one point, I think when I started working there as just a part-time guy in 94, 95, something like that, there were probably still 15 or 20 of them at that point. And it just slowly dwindled over time. Some new ones came in, some of them fell off, some of them changed affiliations and became something else. And now, man, I think there might be, maybe 4 of us left, 3 or 4 of us. The closest ones to my shop in Peoria don't even sell music anymore. They're just straight head shops, and they're called they changed their name to the Co-op Shop.
Oh.
So they don't even do music. They just do like apparel and pipes and all that kind of stuff. They phased it all out years ago.
Can you shop online at your store?
We don't do it anymore. It kind of became, because we run such a small crew, it was too much to keep up with.
Okay.
But it was we did do that for a while. But the problem with it is we couldn't replenish the used stuff fast enough doing it online,
right,
because we're drawing from this small population pool.
Yeah,
So
35,000 people and use vinyl. Yeah, that would be tough.
You tap it out quick, so you have to actively seek that stuff out or buy collections, which that's a whole other thing. It's a tough nut to crack, man, but we've been there for we're going on 25 years. So
that's awesome. I mean, when I was in Portugal, in Lisbon and Porto, I hunted down the used vinyl shops, because yourself that you're going to find a lot of 80s stuff that was, or early 90s, that was never pressed in North America.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that's that Motley Crue 94 record.
Right. Exactly.
Only going to find that overseas. And that actually Dog Eat Dog was another one. I think that only came out.
It did. And what did I find there? I don't know if it was released in North America. Circus of Power, Vices.
Yeah.
I got in Portugal. Porno Graffiti. Extreme.
Really?
Yep. Ugly Kid Joe, America's Least Wanted. I found.
Yeah, see, that's that weird gray area. Like, man, I don't remember if I ever saw those in the store. I remember the first time I saw a long box for a CD.
Yeah.
I remember that. But I don't remember when the vinyl started to, in my head, I can't remember when the vinyl started to disappear, I have a vague idea.
I found Bonham there, the first one, but I think that might have been available in North America. I'm not really sure. But Disregard of, what was it? Disregard of Timekeeping?
That would have been before it all fell off entirely.
Yeah. It was just cool to see it, because I'd never seen it in North America. Man, I came home with a big bag full of records. I was like, I had it in my carry-on. Oh, and I found Whitesnake Live in the Heart of the City on vinyl from Europe, which was the full, because in North America it was only, 4 or 5 songs?
Yeah, it's like the big record like it was.
Yeah. So I found that over there. Oh, man, I mean, a Roadrunner copy of Kill 'Em All.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was from Holland. It was on import. I found, and I got I got Appetite, with the original cover on, I think it was like see-through pink vinyl from Germany, I think it was. It was pretty cool. I came home with some really cool stuff.
eBay has been such a weird, it's leveled that market as far, because you can find that stuff if you're willing to pay a premium, but to find it in the wild is always the cool thing, man. I don't want to take the easy, also I don't want to pay through the nose for it, but I don't want to take the easy way out of that stuff. I want to just stumble on that.
I know, that's the fun, that was the fun part about it.
We'd even like out of print CDs and stuff, when we were out doing shows in the middle of nowhere, man, I'd stop at every single pawn shop, because you never know, man. You might walk out with a stack of stuff for $1 a piece. That
I know, it's crazy, right?
Oddball stuff you haven't seen in 20 years.
I mean, I found, this goes back 15 years. I found the first Badlands on CD in a used shop here in 2 towns over. Yeah. And it was expensive to get it on eBay. And I think I paid $5 for it.
Yeah.
And I gave it to a buddy of mine because I already had a copy of it, but I was like, here, man, you'll like this. Here, take this. I found another copy. So
what's funny about it, man, is that we joke, there's several titles we joke about this, but there was a point where we probably had 5 or 6 copies of Voodoo Highway used.
Really?
They'd be in the backstock section because it was a cutout.
It was a cutout. I remember it being a cutout. My copy's a cutout.
Yeah, so they'd have the cutout slash in them, and they would sit there for months and months. And then Now, if you find a copy of that, you do a backflip because you can't find it on
You
CD
can't
anymore.
find it because they're not. Well, my understanding is they're not allowed to ever re-release it.
Yeah, there's some kind of legal
Clause.
issue with.
Yeah.
I've talked to a couple about that, and I don't. I think that is probably accurate because I've heard
so.
actually heard a Jake thing not too terribly long ago where he kind of acknowledged it a little bit.
Yeah,
Didn't go to detail, but yeah.
I mean, I have the first one on vinyl, but after I got robbed, I had to find that on Discogs, and it cost me $130, I think.
Whew.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't stumble on those anymore. I mean, every once in a while, that we'll get one of those in.
Yeah.
I remember my brother got one in, and a buddy of mine scooped it up before I could get to it, and I think he sold it for $7 or something. Didn't know what he had, kind of thing.
Oh man. Well,
Yeah, it's tough, man. Everybody knows now.
And that's just it. I stumbled upon so I don't know if you're aware of this, but Elektra, when Too Fast for Love, when they got signed and Elektra sent Motley Crue up to Canada, they played in like Edmonton and stuff like that. They had no product because they had just signed the band. So what they did was they took Too Fast for Love, the Leather Records version, and put it out on Elektra in Canada. And
There's the leather mix
with the leather mix on it. So, yeah, so I originally had a tape of it, and it was funny because it had the Elektra cover on it, and then I put the tape in, and I'm like, the track listing's all wrong. I was like, what it says on the back isn't what's on the tape. So the leather mix was on that tape. But anyways, I managed to find, I was in a record store one day, $5 for this Leather Records mix on Elektra Records.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. And I was like, I ran out of the store. I was like, these guys don't even realize what this is.
Yeah.
It's like, you guys have no clue. You just think it's Too Fast for Love, but it's the holy grail of Too Fast for Love.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Right.
didn't even know that existed. I didn't know there was a pressing of that like that.
Yeah.
And there can't be more than 1,000 copies of that then if they just sent them out there with tour support.
I guess I'm not sure how many there are. Everybody, like anybody that's a Crew fan in Canada knows about it.
Yeah.
So I guess it's technically considered the 4th or 5th pressing of it. I guess it would be.
Wow.
Yeah, because, I mean, and there's different variations. I don't know if you've ever seen them. Different labels. And then I think the first pressing doesn't, you know how it's got the sunglasses on the back?
Yeah.
I think the first pressing doesn't have the sunglasses on it. And Vince has that really big poofy hair that they airbrushed.
Yeah. It looks like it's drawn in. Yeah.
Yeah. That is a really interesting album. Like, it's just I know it's a cult thing, but there's just so many people talk about it, and people post them on Facebook of the different copies that they have. I guess some of them have a white label on the vinyl, and then later pressings.
I have seen that talked about before.
Yeah.
And they've done, I mean, there's been, that's the other thing too, with that band in particular, man, there are so many reissues because they own masters. So there's so many, you never know unless you got one of those originals like that, you don't even know what version you're looking at anymore, man.
You don't. And see, I have I have that one that Motley reissued. I've never played it. What did they reissue it? 2004?
Something like that, yeah.
So I've never played it, so I don't know what it sounds like, but I, of the understanding, because on the CD box set, they actually recorded it off somebody's vinyl pressing because they don't have the tapes. That's my understanding. I think it actually says that in that booklet, in the box set.
Doesn't surprise me too much.
So I think that vinyl is the same thing, but my other vinyl, I mean, the Elektra leather pressing sounds legit, so...
Yeah, that's because I'm sure that's off original master source.
Yeah. It's just it's such a very bizarre thing up here that, you know, $5. I was like, are you kidding? So that day I found that for $5 and the first Skid Row in mint condition in the same store, and I think I paid like $12 for it.
Yeah. Yeah. See, now that's $40 minimum all day long everywhere you go. You can't buy any of that stuff anymore like that. I mean, that window for that was pretty long, man. It stayed cheap for a long time. And then I don't know when it was, maybe 6 years ago, give or take. probably the day Walmart started carrying vinyl is when it just exploded.
It did, and
it's over. We're not going to get anything cool in anymore because everybody. And when you do get stuff in, everybody thinks they're sitting on, Solomon's, mines or something. They got everything's pure gold that they bring. It's like, man, it's not. There's millions of those out there. I can give you this much for it, kind of thing. There's 5 of them over there. No, Barry Manilow's greatest hits is not worth $20 on vinyl.
Why would that be? But
yeah. So
it's funny though. Like in the '90s, after vinyl was gone, I used to go to flea markets, right? And I'd go in and $2 for. Okay, so I found a copy of Whitesnake, Ready and Willing on vinyl. I think. Which I don't think was ever released in North America, was it? Anyways.
Maybe later, after that blew up.
It was a hard find. Anyways, it's on... Geez, I can't even remember what label it's on. But I found it $2, and it was in mint condition. I still have it, and it sounds phenomenal. A bunch of Y&T stuff I got that way. The 3 Vandenberg albums for like $2. In mint condition, and I still play them.
Which is funny, dude. I can remember when those Vandenbergs were still sealed in the bins as cutouts. Those were never sold either. So it's like that. There was a period there where you could really get that stuff for almost nothing. The thing is, if you didn't sit on it, if you're one of those people that switched over to CDs and now you're rebuying all that stuff, and I know plenty of guys that are doing that.
Yeah.
It's costly, man, to say the least. You can't just go back and rebuy all that stuff cheap. It's not possible.
I know, it's crazy, right? It's just, and even when you go on Discogs, stuff that was like even 3 years ago that you're thinking it was fairly cheap. Now you look and you're like, well, it's like I bought those Hanoi Rocks. Remember the Uzi Suicide ones, the 4 that were put out on the color vinyl? I got all 4 of them. And luckily, they didn't cost me too much, but it was the premise of having them because I just always thought they looked really cool.
Yeah.
Right? I just thought that was a cool thing that Geffen did with those.
Yeah, that was that was Axl's doing, right? Wasn't that?
Yeah, I think so.
I kind of wish I had all those, man. I've got CD versions of all that stuff, but I mean, those are all the same thing. That there's limited runs of that stuff. That happened for a minute, and then Geffen probably made whatever they were going to make back off that, and never thought of it again. So until somebody else scoops those rights up. Yeah,
well, Cleopatra did the box set. I have that too, but I've been told I don't think they remastered them.
I was going to say that's the Enough's Enough thing. Deadline, Cleopatra, same thing. I just don't know how much the quality control is in place for that stuff. I mean, dude, I don't know if you've looked at the back. Did you say you did get the Enough's Enough 7 reissue?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Have you taken the time to read the liner notes on the back?
No, but I will.
They are tragically misspelled. There's all kinds of errors and stuff on it to where it's impossible to miss. And I was like, man, what? The original wasn't like this, man. So it's not even that stuff is not taken from the original material. It's like somebody typed that stuff. They didn't have the original text. Somebody typed that stuff out. It's just weird when you see that stuff. It's like, man, if I'm going to spend $30 on this, the least you can do is put it together right,
Yeah, exactly. I thought Donnie was involved with those too.
He was involved in cashing the checks that they wrote him and Chip. I know that. I know they both got paid, but I don't know how much they were involved in that. I mean, because they all got new cover art for the most part, which I don't know who created all that stuff. But with the exception of 1985, it's all different.
Which looks cool. I love that cover.
Yeah,
apparently Donnie hated all the covers. So
Donnie hates a lot of stuff. So
yeah,
it's
I know. It is what it is, right? Well,
but I agree with him, man. They did kind of run that theme into the ground a little bit, so I can see wanting to get those things redone. But yeah, I mean, it's if you're going to take that stuff finally now after all these years and do it, at least do it right. You spent the money to reacquire this stuff.
Apparently, he has the third album. He has the rights to it. Animals with Human Intelligence. So I'm curious to see what they do with the cover, because when Spitfire redid that reissue, I thought that was
Oh yeah, that was that there is that photo that's on the original version. There's a version with Vic in it. I mean,
I remember that.
Rushed out of that, so they can easily restore, which is probably what they should.
Well, apparently the back cover. This was what Donnie told me. That back cover was actually supposed to be the cover.
Should have been.
Should have been the cover. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. Because for years he had that piano with that on the front of it. That was the shelf, and they rolled around. That was on the front. It looked super cool.
It would have been a cool cover.
It's a far more memorable image than the three of them standing there with a big airbrush blur in the middle.
No Vic in it, and hopefully when they reissue it, if they do, they're gonna put that cover on it. I hope they can get. That would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, that's the only one that doesn't have the big gaudy peace sign on it. I think that's the only album.
What's the one with the sun on
it? Tweak doesn't have the peace sign.
Tweak doesn't. Yeah, and the one with the sun on it had that picture of.
Welcome to Blue Island.
Welcome to Blue Island. It doesn't have. Yeah.
I didn't mind that. That was all right.
That one was okay. I mean, there's a Nirvana cover on it too, isn't there?
Yeah, they added those bonus tracks to it.
Yeah, I've got
3 different versions of that, 3 different pressings of that.
Yeah, I have 2 of them. It is what it is. Well, you know what? Before I let you go, is there anything that we didn't touch on in terms of the great affairs that maybe we should talk about?
Well, probably all kinds of stuff, but I can't think. No, this single comes out on I don't know when this is going to air, but
in the next few weeks, probably.
Okay, well, the single comes out on the 28th, Friday the 28th, and then if all goes according to plan, we're in the studio the first weekend of November for a couple days to cut this Christmas song, which should appear on Black Friday.
Oh, cool.
And then, like I said, these others, there's so much of this stuff it's getting hard to sit on it, man. Some of this is some of my favorite stuff we've ever done. But we're going to put a little more spit and polish on a few of these things, and then knock out, maybe 2 or 3 more, and then hopefully wrap this record up and get it out. It's got a cover and everything. I mean, it's that close to being ready to release, but we just got to get these last few pieces in there. I just want to make sure we're not. It's that thing of, I mean, you're a musician. It's that you don't want to, declare it done, and then you realize you got 2 great songs that might have possibly fit on there that now you have to sit on for the next 3 years while you go on down the road trying to promote this one. Yeah. So I want to make sure we get everything on there that needs to be on there. And I think we've done a really good job of weeding out stuff that shouldn't, but there's just a handful that, sometimes I have to be the guy that makes the executive decision,
right?
Which I don't really like so much, but I've been trizing to not do that.
It's hard with songs, right?
It is, and we've got everybody. I mean, I write, Kenny writes, Rizzo writes, Matt not so much, but everybody. I want everybody to make sure that they get their ingredients in there, and I don't want to be the guy trying to push my stuff over the top because I don't think it makes for a really well balanced record. Part of what makes the band work is Kenny and I's back and forth. So I just want to make sure that we get everything on there that needs to be on there. So I'm trying to be patient, but and I've already recorded some of these songs multiple times, like done my home demos and stuff. So
right,
I want to get the finished versions out. So I'm trying, I'm pushing. For anybody that is frustrated with our lack of progress, don't blame me. I have been trying. I assure you, I've been trying to get this stuff done. So
perfect. Okay, that's cool. Well, I can't wait to hear the album. So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I'll send you some snippets. I've got some
cool,
some private links, as they say in the biz. Okay. I can.
That's awesome. In the biz.
I'll send a couple of those along. You'll get a better idea what I'm talking about.
Okay, that's awesome. You know what? We went an hour and 50 minutes again. So
we topped it.
What's that?
We topped our previous.
We did. So I mean, I wasn't sure if we were going to, but we did it. So
Well, it's a good thing we included that Butch Walker segue then, because we probably ate up 30 minutes on that again. So,
Well, I mean, we like talking about Butch. Can't help
it
ourselves.
was less flattering this time around, I think. So,
Well, yeah. Well, I mean,
I don't
it's
see any mailbox money coming from that one, but
maybe on the next one when we do an interview, I'll have another album out and we'll be just raving about it. So, right?
it's a possibility.
It is. Okay, man. Well, have a great night,
You too, man.
and I will. I'll let you know when this posts. That way.
Okay, cool.
Okay, man. Right on.
All right,
Okay.
man. All right. Take care.
Okay. You too. Bye bye.
When this whole thing started, we were just 19. We'd be lying to each other like it kept us clean, but never cool in the open where we might be seen. As things were said in the dark that we didn't mean, as we were lying to each other like it kept us clean. And caught red-handed in the breach now, I can't stand it. You gotta know, baby, we write the story. I can be the one you wanted. Darling, no guts, no glory. Who cares if the house is haunted out? Drive a stake through the heart. Oh, we sweat and we shake till the fever breaks. When the fever broke, we were speaking in tongues, lying to each other at the top of our lungs.